Okay, I've got some breaking sim racing news in the world of the Fanatec insolvency situation. This is going to be absolutely critical to anyone who's a Fanatec customer like me, and also anyone who's thinking about getting into Fanatec or just a sim racer generally. This is so important, and in this video I'm going to let you know some details that I think are going to affect whether you decide to buy or not buy Fanatec equipment, or what ecosystem you decide to go into. Because, like any good journalist, I've got official lines here from Corsair on their involvement in Fanatec, what's going to happen, and their sort of commitments to us as sim racers. So yes, I've asked the questions that you would expect me to ask. And by the way, thanks so much for your support. You know, you guys and girls said you love this sim racing journalism. We're so close to 100,000 subscribers. I think it would be a great message if we got to 100k on this channel, doing this sort of like sim racing, honest, investigative journalism. So thanks so much. Please make sure you subscribe and share the video. So I'm just going to rattle through the questions and let you know what the answers are to them from Corsair. A little bit of background first. So remember, I flew over to Germany. I interviewed the CEO of Fanatec, Thomas Jackermeier, because there had been many issues that you guys and girls have been letting me know about in the comments to my videos about poor customer service and unusual things going on. Thomas Jackermeier gave his answers. We published the interview on this channel. A lot of people thought it was reassuring. A lot of people thought it was the opposite of reassuring. Fast forward a little bit, Thomas Jackermeier has been exited as the CEO of Fanatec. There's a new management board in, and now there's a power struggle. The new board want to sell Fanatec to other investors, potentially Corsair, and Thomas Jackermeier, the ex-CEO, sort of wants to come back into the company through his own investors. So there's a power struggle between Thomas Jackermeier and the shareholders. That's why you'll see a lot of unusual comments and videos even. They're from shareholders. And also you have the management board using very controversial bankruptcy laws to try and do what they want to do and not have to do what Thomas wants to do. Anyway, Corsair at one point were lined up as the savior of Fanatec. There were official statements. I made the videos, you know, Corsair's come in. I think it's going to be saved. But then, absolute bombshell, last couple of days, Fanatec dives into insolvency. Corsair is referred to as like Fanatec board say, we assume Corsair is interested. So obviously I went to Corsair and said, are you interested? So let's see what they've come back with the answer. So the first question I said is Corsair committed to sim racing, whether that's with or without Fanatec? Is Corsair committed to sim racing, whether that's with or without Fanatec? Because I'm interested to know what Corsair really care about here. Are they interested in sim racing? Do they care about us? Do they just see it as an opportunity to buy a company on the cheap? And they said to me, as we've shown at Computex 2024, with the presentation of our sim racing cockpit, we are fully committed to enter the sim racing market in 2024. So Corsair is saying they're fully committed to going into sim racing in 2024. So that seems to be with, well, that's what I asked, with or without Fanatec, Corsair are coming in sim racing. So if you're a big Corsair fan, that's good news. Second question I asked, is Corsair committed to assisting Fanatec through insolvency, as Fanatec customers will be concerned about support of their products going forward? Look, this channel is just a hobby for me. I don't need to do this channel. I don't take any money out of it and sort of go on nice holidays. Everything goes back into the channel. I care about you. You made this channel. You supported me. You just gave me such incredible love and support over the many years. So that's why I'm asking these sort of questions. The same questions, by the way, that I asked Thomas Jackermeier. Corsair said, Corsair is still very interested. This is breaking news. We're breaking this right now on this channel. If there was proper sim racing journalism, and there are a few proper journalists, but if there was more, you'd see this reported more by other journalists or YouTubers, but we know that's not going to happen. So you kind of have to be here to watch it, which I guess is good news for me. Corsair is still very interested in the acquisition of Endor, but unfortunately there was no clear path to do so through the Starreg process due to outside influences. Now, the Starreg process is German insolvency law, bit like Chapter 11 US, administration in the UK. So there was no clear path to do so through Starreg due to outside influences. Now, Corsair haven't said what I'm going to say now, but what I'm going to say now is that I suspect that means Thomas Jackermeier. Thomas Jackermeier and sort of his influence was telling people Starreg is should not be used here. It's not right. We're going to challenge it in the courts. It's an abuse of the powers of Starrock. It's not meant for this. And it would seem to me those would be the outside influences that Corsair are referring to. They go on to say, now, although the insolvency process is procedurally different, we are still hoping that we can buy the company. So you heard it here first. Corsair are still hoping that they can buy Fanatec. Now, there's two ways of interpreting that. The first way is that Corsair are playing everything face up and they've always wanted to buy Fanatec since it became available here. They wanted to do it through Starrock because that's what the board were proposing. Now Starrock's off the table, they're still involved. The other more cynical view that I've seen a lot of you say in the comments is that this is all part of the Corsair master plan and they're going to get it for cheaper. I personally, maybe I'm too naive, but I personally don't buy that. I feel like the longer this goes on, the more Fanatec just goes down the pipe. And I found it really interesting to watch Thomas Jackermeier and the Thomas Jackermeier supporters. And by the way, I really respect Thomas Jackermeier. I want to let you know that I had a good connection with him when I interviewed him, and I really respect him as a entrepreneur and businessman. But that side, so you'll see that side making statements and whatnot, and on the forums, it's the sort of people who say everyone should spend as much money as they have right now buying Fanatec equipment. I'm like, no, that's not sensible. But that sort of people, they want to show Fanatec as being run terribly by the new management, because the only way they believe they can get back into Fanatec is if they show the new management are incompetent and whatever. But the more they show that the new management are incompetent, the less credible Fanatec is as a going concern. So I watch with some amusement when I see the Thomas Jackermeier side sort of really trying to destroy the new management of Fanatec, because in a way they're throwing glasses at the stone. Sorry, they're throwing stones at the glass castle that they want to commandeer. So I find that interesting. And because of that, I feel like Corsair would actually probably rather pay a premium and just have it sooner if we believe, which I have no reason not to believe, what they say when they say we're still hoping that we can buy the company. I asked about trademarks as well. So if you don't know, the Fanatec trademarks went over to Corsair, which is pretty crazy. So I said to Corsair, will the Fanatec trademark stay with Corsair if Fanatec does not pay back the loans to Corsair? And Corsair said the IP mentioned, so it's the trademarks, but let me just say exactly what it said. The IP mentioned was used as security for the loans that Corsair extended to Endor. It is not expected that the terms of those loans will default. If, in fact, someone other than Corsair were to buy the assets of Endor, part of the proceeds to buy the company would pay back Corsair, and the IP would return to Endor under its new ownership. So what I take from this is Corsair are trying to say, look, it was security for the loans, so we put money into Fanatec because it's, now we know, now I've been saying for a long time, it appears to be insolvent. So they got trademarks and security concern. Let me know in the comments if you don't know what that means. It's not a problem. This is all very complicated stuff, and with normal people like you and me are not really expected to care or know a lot about this, I would say. But what Corsair is saying is that won't stand, they're not going to stand in the way of a sale of Fanatec. In fact, if someone else was to buy Fanatec, Corsair would give the trademarks back. So Corsair seem to be taking quite a reasonable position there. That makes sense. Now I asked a really juicy question, because that's what I do. If you see me interview everyone on this channel, that's what I do. But before I ask it, I want to ask you, please, if you've seen a lot of these videos and you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. We get a lot of people sort of dismissing these videos as they must not be true. The whole thing must be fake. But you know if you watch them that this is what's happening. So please, to support me, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I personally really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you subscribed on this video. Here's that juicy question. Would Corsair work with Thomas Jackermeier in a unified Fanatec going forward? Here's what Corsair said. Unfortunately, we cannot comment on any possible future scenarios, but we are not ruling anything out. So maybe I need to play matchmaker. Maybe I need to play matchmaker between Thomas Jackermeier, who I got on well with, but has accused me of, I can't remember exactly what he said, my reporting has caused extreme damage to Fanatec. which, like I explained, may actually be beneficial to him, he thinks, because it allows him back in. But anyway, maybe to be matchmaker between him and Corsair, we'll see. Another question here that I asked. Will Corsair be releasing sim racing products in the next few months, or are these subject to resolving the Fanatec situation? Because I like sim racing, I like new equipment, I want to know what's coming out. And they said, we've announced the Corsair sim racing cockpit at Computex 2024 and hope to have more information for you later this year. So they've announced sim racing cockpit, which is funny because Fanatec also recently released sim racing cockpit, but they hope to have more information later this year. So do Corsair have their own direct drive wheel? I don't know. I don't have any information on that. And by the way, I shouldn't need to say this, but I'm going to say it. I don't have any shares in Fanatec. I don't have any shares in Corsair. I don't have any shorts. And I'm not paid by anyone to make these videos. I've never received a payment from anyone to make these Fanatec news videos. Like, there are not other companies that are paying me or telling me or advising me to make these videos. This is just me sat in my room as a free human being making these videos for no money. Because I can. Because I'm very interested by it. And I've spent a lot of my money actually on sim racing. I'm in debt to sim racing. So that might be confusing some people. I think some people think always in terms of money. And I'm not motivated by money, which maybe is, I don't know, hard to compute for some people. Another question. Does Corsair have a message to worried Fanatec customers? Do you want to know the answer? Make sure you've hit the like button. We should be on 500 likes on this video. We are, like Fanatec customers, huge fans of Fanatec products, and we would be very honoured if we could own and operate the business and continue to support the customers with great products and service. Regardless of the history and current financial issues, we are sure that a strong financial partner will emerge to buy the company. And whether it is us or someone else, we are convinced that the company will continue to be a leading provider of sim racing products. And of course, we hope to be the new owners. So again, I'm breaking the news on this channel. To anyone who's just responding to you sharing this thing, calling it clickbait or it's not true, they are just putting their fingers in their ears because this is fresh off the press. And I think the next thing has to be getting Thomas Jackermeier back on record. Because I feel like Thomas Jackermeier is on manoeuvres, operating somewhat in the shadows. And Corsair and Fanatec are referring to him as an outside influence and whatnot. And he's sort of like guerrilla warfare. And I think we plainly need to understand from Thomas Jackermeier, and I think I would be the best person to ask him, what exactly he's trying to achieve here. And what exactly he's prepared to lose. Because that is a question I don't think anyone understands. So thank you so much for your support. More videos around here if you want to understand more of the Fanatec situation. I do have lots of links to other products if you want to buy them. That's your choice. Like I said, just in the description. But I will see you. I'll see you next time.